results for 4th grade 2025. Things first, let's give it up for these guys for making it. Things instead of just one thing. So really excellent job. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our finalists. Over here we have Azian. Congratulations. So this is going to follow our playoff scoring, which I'm going to go over just in case you either forgot or just you need a little bit more time. So playoff scoring means that your score will change every single time you buzz, either correct or incorrect. If you buzz in and you're correct, it's going to be either +6, 5, 4, or 3. Towards the beginning is a 6, in the middle is a 5, at the end of the toss-up is a 4, and then if it's after the question's over, then that is 3 points. The thing is, you don't know when those points change. Only I know. So when you get a correct answer, I will tell you how many points you received for that answer. For the negatives, if you buzz in while I'm reading the toss-up, then that is -2. And if you read in, you buzz it after I'm done and you're incorrect, it's -1. So a big difference between prelims and finals is that there's a lot of strategy here that you have to kind of pay attention to through scores. Because of that, we have the scores available to you up here. And for those of you wondering what this says, they all got to sign their own name on the board. And so we'll be keeping track of the scores up there. So don't forget to check that every now and again for your strategy. Okay. We're going to be playing out at 40. Bradley, can you put that at the top so that they remember? So out at 40. Excellent. Thank you. If no one gets to 40, then we'll just give the trophies to the highest point total getters at the end. Everything else about this is the same as what you've been doing. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right. I'm going to introduce everyone just so that you know who to ask for if you need any help. I'm Sarah. I'll be your moderator. This is Matt. Matt. He's going to be doing the digital scoring. This is Miss Brooke. She's going to do the paper scoring. And Bradley's over here on the board. So if you need any help, we are your team for this match. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? You guys super ready? Okay, take a deep breath. Ready to answer questions about academics? Let's have some fun. Okay, go ahead and start. Toss up 1. The story, A Horseman in the Sky, is set during this conflict, which is also the setting of a story in which Peyton Farquhar escapes the gallows. Ambrose Bierce. Yes, that is correct. Was your buzzer not working? Guess what? They'll pass it. We're arguing about it. Okay. Okay, that probably would have been the way to go. Alright. Let's go ahead and just test those again. Okay. Alright, Ria. Thank you. Bye. And okay, now they work. I've never replaced the very first question before. Alright. We're gonna clear that score. And we're going to restart.
Did you get a point?
We're going to restart it because nobody could buzz over here. So get the point for that. All right. So we're going to start again. Deep breath. Toss up 1. This archipelago's dual capitals are Roadtown and Charlotte-Amalie.
Virgin Islands.
That is correct for 6 points. All right. I'm going to follow. 2. The aria, Better My Heart. The aria, Batter My Heart, 3-Personed God, appears in one of these productions depicting J. Robert Oppenheimer's Dr. Atomic. That's incorrect. The Red Detachment of Women is performed in one of these compositions, which depicts a visit by President Nixon to China. John George. That's also incorrect. That's 2. John Couch Adams is a composer of, for the point, what type of musical theater which often features deep-voiced singers? That's correct. 3. That was the way I finished. Thank you. Number 3, this novel's 42nd chapter vanished into the clouds. Yes, good buzz. That's 6 points. Number 4, as part of a plot to overthrow his brother, this man fathered children with his niece Tyra. This man instructed his wife to disrespect his body after he died. That is correct, and that is also 6. 5. Are you guys keeping up with me, or do I need to see their name? Okay, very cool. Thank you. 5. This position was established after the overthrow of Lucius Tarquinius Superbus. Holders of this position were said as -2 to alternate holding the fasces every month, and one of the first 2 holders of this position was Lucius Junius Brutus. That is correct for 5. Toss up 6. A law to make this man leader for life was called the law of succession to the headship of the state. This leader ordered the creation of a Pedro Magrusa monument called the Valley of the Father. That's incorrect, -2. That's correct. Okay, number 7. This body, whose atmosphere was discovered by D.T. Hall, contains terrain called the Connemara Chaos. This body has the smoothest surface of observed solid bodies in the solar system, and it was discovered alongside Io, Ganymede, and Callisto. Europa? That is correct, and that is 5. Number 8. One author from this continent depicted a character nicknamed the Blasphemer and No Longer at Ease. That author from this continent told the story of a respected Igbo leader who, that's correct for 5. 9. This event debated a document stating, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal. False. That is correct, and that is 6. Done. 10. This field of study uses priming the pump to illustrate one thinker's idea of deficit spending to ease recessions. This field of study's greatest thinkers have included Milton Friedman and economics. And that is 6. All right, let's just check to make sure everyone's on the same page with the score. We have Ada at 11, Keaton at 11, Ria at 0, Abai at -2, Vivek at 8, and Vishnu 17. Confirmed. Confirmed. All right, carrying on. Number 11. In 1921, this leader declared himself great president as head of the Second Constitutional Protection Movement. The assassination of a prime minister-elect led this man to eventually ally with communists in the First United Front. This man, who founded the Wampoa military, that's incorrect, -2, did not live to see the Northern Expedition. For the points, name this Chinese revolutionary the founder of the Kuomintang. That's also incorrect, -1. That is correct for 3. Number 12. A model name for these particles was independently proposed by Georges Zweig. These particles are limited to certain types of particles via the strong interaction. And these particles have a property called force. That is correct for 5. Number 13. Hold on a second, guys. That was 12, yeah?
Okay, where's that number in the passes? If I'm missing the slide.
I think we're missing a whole page. Yeah, 13 and 14 are missing.
Oh, so.
Thank you. So what I'll do is I'll continue and we'll just use those 2 when we have them. If you don't mind just kind of watching the slide. Thank you. All right. So in case you missed that conversation, 13 and 14 aren't in the packet, so we can't give them to you. So we're going to move on to 15. But we're going to keep on going as if this were 13. Okay. Number 13. In 2024, this country was ranked as having the world's highest GDP per capita. This country, which contains the village of Shenzhen, is led by Grand Duke Henry. And that's correct for 5. 14. The largest river in this region is the Rio Negro, which represented the southern limit. Yes, please. Yes. Patagonia for 6. 17. Mr. Starnes is a dean in this novel who receives the nickname The Eagle. This novel was inspired by its author's experiences at Indian Springs School. Pudge is the narrator of this novel, whose title character dies during a drunk driving accident. For the point, name this 2005 young adult novel by John Green that concerns That's incorrect, -2. That concerns a woman named for a U.S. state. That's time. It's called Looking for Alaska. So 15 goes dead. On to 16. A valid combinatorial form of these things is called a double counting, in which 2 different methods are used to count the size of a set. Examples of these things can be created by construction or assuming the opposite and showing the occurrence of absurdity through contradiction. For the point, name these logical and mathematical arguments used to demonstrate the truth of a fact. Incorrect, -1. That's also incorrect, -1. That's the answer we're looking for. That's 3. And that was 17. This person may have attempted one effort because of an eruption of Mount St. Helens that dulled the sun. This person was only discovered when farmer Benjamin Fitz noticed some collected brushwood. This person was executed in Southampton County, and Thomas Gray published this person's confessions. For the point, that's correct for 3. No, sorry, 4. Number 18. This artist created a bronze relief sculpture called the Feast of Herod. A statue of Marcus Aurelius inspired this artist to depict a horse balancing its hoof on a cannonball. This artist of God, Gatamelech, is incorrect. Great. That's correct. Donatello for 5. Great. 19. This procedure, which is done before MOHS surgery, comes in excisional and needle aspiration types. This procedure is performed to remove skin lesions or as part of an intraoperative consultation via chirosection for fast microscopic analysis. For the point, identify this procedure that diagnoses conditions by removing a sample of tissue or cells. No, -1. Time, that's called a biopsy. 20. This novel's protagonist encounters a series of heads-on spikes before finding a sick man carried on a stretcher. In this novel, a steamboat is attacked by a group of natives near the inner station. The final words, the horror of the... That's correct for 5. Great. Let's check to make sure we agree with our scoring. Have Anya at 10, Keaton 21, Ria -1, Abai -2, Naved 13, and Vishnu 30. Reminder that we are playing to 40. Do we have replacement questions?
So I'm told to tell you to use the list at the end of the packet, but we don't have enough. I have extras.
Okay, great. Let's do that now so that we're come back to areas 23.
Good.
All right, so extra. You only need 2, right? Yeah. So we have exactly what we need for it. All right. Question 21. This character is the illegitimate son of Bartolo and Marcellina, who have a double wedding with human Susanna. In another opera, this character reveals to Orsino that that's correct for 5. There's David. All right. 22. This character's choice to befriend Jane and Margaret suggests that he will be forever connected to the Darling family. Toodles and Nibs are followers of this character who cuts off a pirate captain's hand and feeds it. That is correct for 5. He takes the lead. All right, now back to 23. 23. Submarine volcano eruptions can form rafts of this type of rock, such as a 10,000 square mile example that formed from a 2012 eruption in the Kermadec Islands. This type of rock differs from darker colored scoria rock and can float on water. Result. That's incorrect for -2. For the points, name this vesicular volcanic rock that has a porous texture. That's correct, and that's 4. 24. This film was the highest grossing film in US history prior to the release of Gone with the Wind. In response to critics, the director of this film produced the film. Yes, that's a very good buzz. 6 points. Okay, so Keaton, you're one toss up away possibly. 25. This quantity can be calculated as the square of momentum divided by twice the mass of the object. This quantity has a value that is equal to 1/2 times mass times velocity squared. For the points, name. That is correct. For 4. 3 is on the board. 8. 26. This city hosts Plaza San Lorenzo Ruiz and lies on the heavily polluted Pasig River. This city is served by New York. That is correct for 6 points. Going to the audience, but he's no talking. Okay? Okay. Well, 27. The design of this device incorporated an adjustable collar based on a similar device developed earlier by Michael Faraday. This device uses the Venturi effect to mix gas with air, and a blue cone appears when this device's air holes are fully open. For the points, identify this common laboratory device that produces a hot, clean flame and takes its name. That's correct for 4. 28. Characters based on this artist include Georges de Marais' Zoe Sibley and Oscar Wilde's Basil Hallward. This artist sued critic John Ruskin in 1877 for panning his work Falling Rocket, whose full title contains a musical term. For the point, name this artist whose best known arrangement depicts his mother. Time, you have to listen to whispers. 29. With diplomatic revolution, this king established an alliance with Britain to fight Austria in the 7 Years' War. During the War of Austrian Succession, this rival of Maria Theresa, that is correct for 5. Let's do one last score check before our final, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Jem has 10. Keaton has buzzed out. Ria 3, Elias 7, we made it 17, and we should do at 30. Confirmed. Confirmed. All right, guys, it's strategy time. 30. This element takes its name from salts traditionally derived from soaking wood ash. This element can be dated by observing how many of its isotopes, that's incorrect, -2, have decayed into argon. This element can be found in food sources such as nuts and bananas. Or potash. That is correct for I, and that is our match. Excellent work. Second, set up. You like the tower.
Okay, I guess it was.
This is pretty stable.
Nice. Okay, so congratulations to all of our finalists.
we get a picture of everyone too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
In fifth place, we have Abide with 5. In fourth place, we have Adian with 10. In third place, we have Nived with 7. Taking home the silver, we have Vishnu with 30.
Actually, take a picture. Oh, the kids last year we didn't like it.
Of course, they do.
Thank you.
And then our champion today is Keaton.
Okay, go ahead and do it.